Here's my question to you. If retaliation is unlawful, why are people afraid of retaliation? Why are people afraid? I think we often accept that that's the answer, right? Well, they fear retaliation. But what's interesting about that is past reports haven't changed. Yeah, they feel like nothing will change. They don't want to get involved in other people's business. Yes, that's another reason. Yeah. So let's talk about the retaliation thing. If I feel like that, I deliver speeches and talks and webinars to the world of HR all the time, sometimes 4 or 5 times a week. I think this is my 4th presentation this week. And I was asked this question, why don't people speak up? And everybody always says retaliation, they're afraid of it. And what I find is that we just sort of settle into that. Well, they're afraid of retaliation. And we just accept it. The question I would push back on you is what's going on in your organization that they fear retaliation? Why do we kind of leave the onus to them? I'm seeing a lot of feeling intimidated. They don't trust HR, the process. They have, their finances. They have families to feed and things they need to get done. Reporting threatens that, right? The behaviors that create an uncomfortable work environment and aren't deemed as lawful retaliation. Yeah. Some don't want to be a snitch. Social retaliation comes in many forms. It might be hard to prove. Yeah, they fear that anonymity. I can't say that word. They perceive that they'll lose confidentiality. Change the word. They're conflict avoidant. Yeah. It's a human feeling, working closely with people and fearing they'll be identified. People have day-to-day interactions with their colleagues and are afraid of how the relationship would be impacted. So here's what I'm saying. All of these reasons you're giving are the employer reasons. The employer the employer, what am I trying to say? The employer is the reason these reasons exist, right? Why should people work in an organization where they worry if they snitch, they'll be ousted, fired, lose their team friendships, all of these things? That is an employer problem. And so employers would do well to ask themselves, what keeps people from reporting? What are we doing or not doing that sends the message retaliation is a possibility? Because in a truly psychological, safe place where you feel like your team cares about you and where your employer cares about you, retaliation isn't a fear. And so we, just please stop putting the onus on them. Well, of course they fear retaliation. The question is why? Why do they fear retaliation? And it's not a them problem, it's an employer problem.